this room who do reach out for comment, who try to get things right, and there are some that remain. But overwhelmingly, the fake news that we see pumped out of this building on a day-to-day basis, it's honestly overwhelming to keep up with it all and to constantly have to defend against these fake news and these attacks. And I will point out,
Karoline is becoming a little self-aware. I am gonna have to agree with her on this one. All the White House does is pump out fake news, and I see she's not wearing her cross today. She took it off. She's officially off the clock with Jesus. It's like when a cop turns their body cam off. You know something terrible's about to happen.
Following up on Gabe's question, you said that the follow-up strike was lawful. What law is it that allows no survivors?
The strike conducted on September 2nd was conducted in self-defense to protect Americans in vital United States interests. The strike was conducted in international waters and in accordance with the law of armed conflict.
On this part of the Honduran president.
Defense. First, the drone comes in and bombs the fishing boat. I'm calling it a fishing boat until we see some evidence. I'm not like these mainstream media sitting in here just going along with a narrative. These fishermen are swimming away. They're maimed. They're bleeding from a blown up boat. This boat right here. You think the chuds, you know, I grew up fishing. I grew up hunting in Utah. Don't you think these chuds, these alpha males, if they weren't so deep in this cult, would know that a fishing boat can't transverse 1,500, 2,000 miles from these countries to get even close to the United States? And why aren't we bombing them when they're within, I don't know, 200 miles of our border, as opposed to 2,000 miles away? These maimed, these bleeding fishermen, they had to do a follow-up strike from a drone because what did Karoline say? Karoline without the cross? Self-defense, bleeding to death in the water, body parts missing, a drone a mile above them. And she calls it, she has the audacity to call it self-defense. Now look, if they really wanted to prove these weren't fishing boats, if we had a mainstream media that actually cared, that would parse that out, they could swoop in. They could go pick up some of these survivors. That's how you do it. They could interview them. They could get some intel. But they're not going to do that. You know what? You know what things need no survivors? Crimes. Welcome to the Chud Report. I'm your host, Deb J. It's your first time here. You end up liking this video, make sure you hit that like. You already know what to do. Make sure you hit that subscribe, and let's get into it.
Thank you. Gabe.
Thank you, Caroline. Excuse me. Regarding Venezuela, the president said yesterday that Secretary Hegseth had denied that second strike, the reported second strike on an alleged drug vote on September 2nd, the secretary said to the president that didn't happen. But to clarify, I just wanted you to clear this up. In his social media post, Secretary Hegseth didn't go into details about that strike. He just said U.S. operations in the area were lawful, and he said that the story and media reports were fabricated. So to be clear, does the administration deny that second strike happened, or did it happen and the administration denies that Secretary Hegseth gave the order?
The latter is true, Gabe, and I have a statement to read for you here. President Trump and Secretary Hegseth.
The latter is true. We don't need to hear that statement. The latter is true, Gabe. Secretary Hegseth, he committed a war crime. And what are we going to do about it? Nothing. I mean, you want to hear the party of personal responsibility. This guy right here. A social media post, this is what they're talking about, a social media post on a war crime. Honestly, that's what should be written on Pete Hegseth's gravestone. All she does in the rest of this clip is use, 5 minutes to explain why they're going to try to pin it. If anything goes wrong, they're going to try to pin it on Admiral Bradley. Who's Admiral Bradley? Who did this, The buck stops at Admiral Bradley. And here's the wall of text Hegseth wrote out. All he wants to be, I'm telling you, is a drunk teen TikTok star. As usual, the fake news is delivery more fabricated, inflammatory, derogatory. Are there really still people out here that this works on, this bait? Why am I asking myself? Is the fake news still really working? This is the most docile. This is the most on board mainstream media I've ever seen. Not one person in that room said, how do you know they're not fishing boats? So let me summarize the drunk tweet he sent to ChatGPT to write him this wall of text, because that's how they all do it now. It starts with fake news, lethal kinetic strikes, Biden coddled terrorists. That's why we have to kill them. Biden coddled them. It's all Biden's fault. And at the end, the strike I've been saying I wasn't a part of, the strike I've been trying to separate myself from, the strike we're trying to pin on Admiral Bradley, it was all approved by the best lawyers, you know? And then you take this propaganda machine and you see how it sells it right back to them.
September, about 80 people have been killed in these strikes. But Alicia, you made the point before, so well made, that this is all about stopping the flow of drugs and remembering the so many countless families that have needlessly and senselessly lost loved ones to fentanyl poisoning. I mentioned Sam Chapman yesterday, who's done.
Oh my God, it's because of the families that have lost loved ones. These fishermen 2,000 miles away have to be blown up. A second strike has to happen to destroy any evidence of who they are because of the families, because of J.D. Vance's families and the fentanyl. Please think of the families while the defense secretary posts an AI cartoon of an extrajudicial killing. You know what I mean? Isn't it funny? Are we thinking of the families when he's doing this? Is he trying to separate himself? I knew nothing about it while posting this slop. And this is the bipolar mind of the Fox News viewer. It's why you're never going to reach them. At one point, they can be in tears on Fox News. Oh my God, who's going to think about the children? And in the next moment, you know, a fake kid's book bragging about murder. But you sit there and you pretend that it's still news. What kind of person does that make you? What kind of person is the average Fox News viewer? When you have to be entertained every second of your life, you can't let anything in. You have to go from, what about the kids, to, they deserved it, whoever they are. How do you expect a democratic republic to survive? How do you expect a constitutional republic to survive? And interestingly enough, sadly enough, I would say, our drunken TikTok girl, Pete Hegseth, used to be this makeup doll selling you the lies, right? He'd sit in that makeup chair for 2 hours every morning, getting it put on, getting a little rouge. He would come out half blitzed out of his mind, and he would be this girl, probably with more makeup, and he would lie to you. Hegseth led to the war on Christmas, to actual war crimes. I want to stress, he's killed 80 people with zero evidence shown to the American public. Ted Bundy killed 30 people. We gave him the chair. Hegseth kills 80 people in fishing boats 2,000 miles away to protect a country that has a crippling drug problem. The United States has a crippling drug problem. Okay, I'll get on board with you for that, but guess what? They don't want to give you any health care for that. The last thing they want to do is address late-stage capitalism and the true roots of why people want to destroy their minds, why people constantly need an escape. It makes me wonder, though, is there anybody out there, all these chuds who voted for these people, they all confirm this guy making cartoons, Hegseth. But is there one voter out there that's actually proud of this? Like a Pete Hegseth fan. I'd like to know who that is. Because you know what this reminds me of? The dumbest kid in my whole class growing up. He ended up being the chief of police one town over. There were only like 600 people in this town. And he couldn't even handle that. Technically, he was a public figure, so I could name his name, Rory Bradley. Horribly inbred. His family tree was a wreath. And he couldn't handle a town of 600 people. He couldn't handle being chief of police of that without sexually assaulting his secretary, without stealing $40,000 from the town. And that is exactly who Pete Hegseth reminds me of. I mean, this guy, as much as I hate to admit it, you know, Pete Hegseth is a lot better looking than this inbred boy from back home. But my point is, anyone that knew Rory, anyone that grew up with him, knew that it would end badly. Everyone knew not to put that guy in charge of anything, and least of all, give him any kind of power. And it ended up, much like Hegseth, exactly how we thought it would.
To clarify, Admiral Bradley was the one who gave that order for a second strike.
And he was
Okay.
well within his authority to do so.
And a separate question, the president several days ago said it was his intention to pardon the former president of Honduras, who was a convicted drug trafficker. And yesterday on Air Force One, the president said that if someone sells drugs in that country, that doesn't mean you arrest the president and put him in jail for the rest of his life. How is that different than what the administration is accusing Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro?
Let's hear it.
You're cherry picking the president's statement a little bit yesterday, as he also said yesterday
not
the
pardoning
people
him?
of Honduras have highlighted to him how the former president Hernandez was set up. This was a clear Biden over prosecution. He was the president of this country. He was in the opposition party. He was opposed to the values of the previous administration, and they charged him because he was president of Honduras. There were some other...
I hate to tell you, man, it is all very exhausting. And I'm sorry that we're covering it because it is exhausting for me too. He was set up by Biden. Are you serious? You're cherry picking? The guy was convicted in 2019. Come on. Is there not one reporter in that room? Put me in that room. All you need to know is who was president in 2019. You know what? And here's my thing. I don't even blame this guy anymore. I honestly don't. I don't think he knows where he is half the time. Look at him.
Yeah.
You think so?
Can you talk a little bit about the strikes and the controversy around Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth?
I don't know anything about it. He said,
Washington
he,
Post.
said he did not say that, and I believe it 100%.
So you don't know if there was
You're talking about the two men?
The second strike to kill the two men.
No, he said he didn't do it. He said he never said
Would you be okay with that if he did?
it. He said he didn't do it, so I don't have to make that decision.
Sundown, you better beware when you find him coming towards your back stairs. He's so gone. They don't, okay, let's say you believe him. He doesn't know anything. The president of the United States, who's ordering extrajudicial killings, as far as we know, unless Hegseth's doing it on his own. 100% Trump could just be lying here. If you take 50% chance and say he's telling the truth, that means they didn't even ask him. He didn't even clarify. They didn't even bother sending him a memo on an extrajudicial killing. Basically, war crimes by auto pen. He is very much an afterthought. And honestly, if you read his tweets lately, I don't recommend you should. But they all look like they're written by Stephen Miller, right? The poisoning of the blood. Tim Walz is a he's just a vessel now. Stephen Miller is piloting him like, remember Men in Black, that little guy running the guy's like, ugh. That's basically what you have here. He's all sleeping in this chair because Stephen Miller's out of his brain right now. Trump is just the suit on most of these things that are happening now. Miller is the one. Just read the tweets and the differences, and you can see Stephen Miller is authoring like 75% of these now. Execute the pores. And while you're doing this, notice how easy it is to tell the ones that Trump's still reading, like this one. There. THER. There are laws that affect our nation. Read Title 18, Chapter 115, Section 2387. You think Donald Trump read that? Not even an ellipsis. That's 6 dots. I don't know what a 6 dots is called. That's a double ellipsis. You see what I mean? This sounds like a guy mid-stroke who had ChatGPT look up something that he can plug in there. And there, he spells there, THER. I mean, he did kind of solve the problem that most of his supporters have. They never know how to use the right there, right? It's always THERE when it's supposed to be THIER or vice versa. So he just solved it for him. This is a new form of there, THER. So Chud, just go ahead and use that. We'll understand.
They asked about my MRI. MRIs are very...
Governor Walz asked you to release the MRI records.
Will you tell us what it was
Governor
for?
Walz? You mean the incompetent Governor Walz? So
they didn't call him
if
the
they
R
want to
word this
release it,
time.
it's okay with me to release it. It's perfect.
What were they looking
It's like my phone call where I got impeached. It's absolutely perfect. So if you want to hear about it or if you want to release it, you want to have it released?
Yeah.
News Nation, failing News Nation.
Oh, so we're not failing.
News Nation is doing lousy, by the way. But if you want to have it released, I'll release it.
Please, can you tell us what they were looking at?
For what, releasing?
No. What part of your body was the MRI looking
I
at?
have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark, which you would be incapable of doing. Goodbye, everybody.
Ooh, another woman.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Every week it's another woman he insults, right? It was the piggy, and then it was you're so stupid. And now he's telling this lady that she can't handle, what is it, man, dog, woman, camera, or whatever that was. But this is what I'm talking about. He took an MRI, and he says he has no clue why. So even if you're still at this point where you want to believe him, you want to take him at his word, but just picture, you go to the doctor, they say, hey, some of the results came back, they're not looking so good, so we want to run an MRI on you. What's your next question? Go ahead, do whatever you want. No, it's like, what for? What are you looking at? He says he doesn't even know what the doctors were looking at with this test they gave him. And by all means, I'm not saying this guy is innocent of anything. Donald Trump is a snake. He's been a snake his entire life. But the thing is, he's a dying snake now. And the thing you need to know about dying snakes, the two things you need to know, it's when they're most dangerous. Because they can't control their venom anymore, so they'll release it all into you. And the second thing is, it's the easiest to avoid when they're dying. They go off to die. You have to seek them out. But to someone like Stephen Miller, a dying snake is a godsend. This guy right here, negative charisma, wouldn't be elected to any position in his life except guy who looks like the world's most racist thumb. If there's that competition, I'm sure his wife will put it on for him. But now he can use this dying snake. This guy says, hey, give me an MRI. I don't know why. This guy's sleeping all day. Where's Jake Tapper with that book? He can use him as a megaphone anytime he wants. Eyes closed, diaper full of shit. This picture right here is the MAGA movement perfectly summed up. Because in just the span of a couple days, maybe a couple hours, you have the justification for committing international war crimes. You have a scandal that would bring down any other administration, but it's just another Monday for these guys. The propaganda is telling you they're saving your kids from the drugs coming into this country. And then what do we get? A pardon. And newsflash, these pardons don't just come out of nowhere. It's a bribe. Donald Trump's going to get paid by this guy. Everybody should know that at this point. If you don't know that, I don't know what to do. Go get an MRI on your brain because you don't bring 400 tons of drugs. That's how many drugs he brought into the United States. You don't bring that on a fishing boat, all right? He brought 400 tons of drugs into this country. And the only way you get out of that is with a bribe. They killed the fisherman, they pardon the kingpin, and none of them wear their crosses while they're doing it. The Chud Report.
But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman. Sighed the vicious snake. I have saved you, cried the woman. And you've bitten me, heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.